2017 has seen the release of some really awesome games so far, but one of the most gorgeous to grace a table period has been Santorini. Just look at this thing. It's one of the most evocative, inviting, colorful, gorgeous boards that I've ever seen. It just wants you to play with the little toy pieces. What makes this so interesting compared to a lot of the games released this year is that it's an abstract game. Rarely do abstract games make the kind of big splash in the hotness and the Kickstarter megadom that Santorini has managed to do. So we're going to be taking a look at just how good is this game and why is it such a big deal to have been released this year. Start a game of Santorini, players start anywhere on the board. Yes, you can be anywhere on the board. And then on your turn, all you do is pick one of your pieces and you move it to one of the surrounding locations. We'll say he moves there. And then you build in one of the surrounding locations so long as it doesn't control another pawn. So we'll say they build there. Then it's the opponent's turn. They can take a similar action. On your turn, you can move up onto these buildings as long as it's not more than one flight, and then build another. Eventually, you're going to build up these high towers that are up to 3 levels, or a 4th level that caps everything off, meaning that no one can move up there. The object of the game is that if you ever successfully move onto a level 3 building, you win the game. This is not as easy as it sounds because this player may have been attempting to make their way up, but you can build from the bottom. So this guy could have just put a cap up on there. So it is a very difficult game of cat and mouse. If you ever can't move and build with the same pawn in the same turn, you lose the game. Okay, so maybe pure strategy isn't your jam. In that case, Santorini's got you covered because there are actually 2 ways to play this game. As a pure strategy, or you can assign each player one of these beautiful god powers that have an individual little power on how they win the game or some way that they get to change their turn, and killer artwork by ever increasingly popular and deservingly so artist team Mr. Cuddington. Look at this. This has some of the best character designs that I have ever seen in a board game, period. It totally brings to life this fantastic, vibrant pantheon. Furthermore, the iconography on the cards themselves is crisp, clear, and easily understood. It is intuitive as soon as you know the language Santorini speaks. Alright, so super big strategy game fans are going to be like, dude, you can't just have a bunch of random elements that are going to determine who gets what power. What if they're not balanced? And that is where one of my favorite elements of Santorini comes into play. You see, how it works is one person, the challenger, gets to pick which 2 cards players will play with in the game. They'll say maybe, oh, we're going to have Demeter and the Minotaur, which sounds like an awesome children's book. But that challenger then hands these cards to the other player and says, you get to choose which of these you get to be. So the challenger is setting the parameters of the game, but the challengee gets to determine which one they want. So if you pick super unbalanced characters, well, it looks like you're going to get the short end of that stick. Not only is this a great balance mechanism, but this sort of I split, you choose type of situation, it really makes you consider what are cool and interesting power combinations that you'd like to see at the table. This is one of the ways that Santorini makes sure that you're having fun before you even start the game. And of course, if you wanted to just randomize, that'd be fine too. Let's check out some of the powers here. There are 3 main types of powers. For example, the Minotaur here has an active power. He can move into an opponent's space, knocking their pawn backwards 1. Then there are passive abilities like Persephone, who makes it so opponents must move up a flight if possible on their turn. The last type is a alternate victory condition like Kronos, who wins both through normal means or by having 5 capped off buildings during the game. How often is it that you feel lied to by player count and playtime in a board game? Well, fortunately, Santorini doesn't lie about things. It says right here, Santorini is best as a 2-player game. However, we have included rules for 3 and 4 players for those times when you really want to play with more people. That is absolutely the case. This game is best as a 2-player game. The 3 and 4 player rules are for a team game or a little bit less balanced game that can have a little bit of wonkiness. Fortunately, the god powers are all designated to which ones are allowable in a 3 or 4 player game. All of them are allowable in a 2-player game. Santorini is fun, it is fast, and it has some of the best toy factor that I've ever seen out of a board game. Immediately, as soon as you see these pieces, you just want to play with them and build them. But it is a damn good strategy game too. It is difficult, it is puzzling, and it is fun. I've had so many times where I played this 5, 6 games in a row within an hour, and each time, whether I win or lose, it's just that laughing, you got me, dude, and putting your hand across the table and shaking hands. Santorini is a game that I am really glad I have in my collection. It is unlike anything else that I have. Almost anyone, board gamer or not, has at some point in their life played checkers, chess, or Go. So it is something that makes it excessively easy to invite people into this modern tabletop hobby. And what's that? A deeply satisfying gateway game? That's almost unheard of. If you want something fast, deep, intuitive, and fun, I highly recommend Santorini.